I tried to break all types of rules today. Wanted to be the first, football television celebrating 420 live on the show. One day we can do that, hopefully.
You could have eaten a brownie, I guess.
I guess you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, baby. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed's here. It is 421.
Yeah.
Ahmed is still clearing up. He's in a haze of smoke. You're such a stoner. You just all day yesterday. That's all you did.
Not a stoner. I've had 3 of these energy drinks
Oh,
already.
so you're
today.
ready to go.
So I am.
Yes, right. Zing,
not a haze.
Zing.
The opposite of a haze.
So wait, you didn't partake in 420 yesterday?
I did not. I've told you this before.
Our boss is walking by right now, and of course I'm talking
but
about
I
this.
will tell you that the homies did reach out, and they go, "Where's the podcast today?" And more than one were like, well,
it's 420. Chris can't work on 420. What are we doing here?
Lose his job.
Yes, I did partake in some activities.
Some?
Right? Yeah, some. I didn't go hard. It's a work day. I can't but I will say, my wife at 8:30, I kind of just gotten done eating. I was sitting there, and she's like, "I just can't believe it." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I just can't believe you're not more in a cloud of smoke and a haze. It's 420. Like, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I know. I got to work, so
do you want me to be?
I know, right? She's probably like, "Yes, I like you better when you're like that."
Like, do you feel like 420, even if you didn't want to, and I don't know how, but you feel like you have to. Right? It's like, well, I've got to do a little something here. If I'm going to represent myself as someone who enjoys this.
It feels
I have to partake.
It feels right. It feels right. Lately, it doesn't matter if it's 419, 420, or 421. Lately, it's been a daily thing lately. Usually, I'm on my schedule of weekends only. I've gone off the wagon here as of late. But yeah, I felt like I had to.
Yeah.
For the weed community. Had to get it done yesterday.
Well, you've had to do something to get you through all of the scouting that you've done
yes,
up to this point. And today we're finally here. We're at the finish line.
I feel so good that I'm done. I really do. I've been stressed the last month. Every day I'm chasing the rabbit. I mean, that's how I felt. Even on days off. So now to not only just go, hey, I'm done, but I feel like I have a really good feel for the draft, and I'm just at comfort. So thank God we're here, and I did it. I did it, Mom. I did it, Ahmed.
You've made it. So we're doing the mock draft on Monday.
Right.
So you'll go through the first round and kind of pick the players you think that teams are going to select. It's not just reflective of your rankings.
No, right. If I feel or hear that, that this team is, they're hot on a player, I'm not going to go, well, I think, I'm going to use a little bit of both. If I have no clue, then I'll kind of go to my rankings. If I hear something substantial, I might do that. So hopefully, the homies can deal with that formula there.
So that's coming up on Monday.
Yep.
Today we've got the last 2 position groups. We'll start with defensive tackles, and then we'll end with linebackers. So 2 more on the defensive side. We only have an hour and 12, and then we get kicked out.
Okay.
Kristen's I'm done with you guys.
I know.
She's
so
over
sick
it
of her.
too.
Yeah.
So
damn her.
So let's get right to it.
Yeah.
Let's go right to defensive tackles, and let's just go right to number 5. Let's just get
Texas
right into
A&M. Gig 'em Aggies. DeMarvin Leal. Okay.
Leal.
I'm sorry to DeMarvin. I'm still working on some of these rookies' pronunciation.
You put him in the top 5, though.
But he is a top 5, yes. And welcome to the Chris Simms Unbuttoned top 5 at defensive tackle. He's a really good football player, a really good athlete. I think he's going to this is a guy that's going to be more loved by the true 4-3 teams more than the teams that might ask, the 3-4-ish type of stuff. But when you talk about good athlete, great looking body, looks like an athlete, and he's a hybrid, Ahmed. That's what I would tell you more than anything. To me, it's it's defensive tackle for teams that smaller, faster, let's create havoc defensive tackle. It's strong side defensive end who goes, no, we like gigantic D tackles, and we like our strong side D end to be basically an athletic D tackle. That's, to me, what DeMarvin Leal is. He really is, and he's an impressive specimen.
Some people list that as a negative, right? A tweener is we don't know. He can't do either one. You think there's a chance he can do a little bit of both.
I do think so. I don't think I think this is a true, again, Seattle scheme, that kind of scheme, they're going to love him at 3 technique. And then, okay, wait, this week we're playing a team that can really run the ball. We might ask you to play DN, but the rules aren't going to really change. I think with this kid, get off is good. I'm not it's wow. He doesn't show great ability to do that 2-gapping stuff that we've talked about. But, for a guy that's 283, takes on double teams pretty good, and has explosion and the ability to change directions and take on blocks and be in awkward positions and still create havoc. I think that's what I liked about him a lot.
Struggled a little bit when he faced Evan Neal and Charles Cross, but who wouldn't?
Right. Sure.
Give us an idea here, because you said the offensive lineman, you talked about that last podcast with Paul. You said there might be 6, 7, 8 first-round talent guys.
Right.
You got number 5 here, Leal.
Yeah.
First-round talent?
No.
Yeah,
no. I think we're talking about a guy here that's kind of mid-second, somewhere in that range. I would like it. It's kind of the players that I look at him like. William Golston, maybe, right, for the Bucks, is like that kind of guy. There's the, Draymond Jones from Ohio State a few years ago. He's another guy similar to that type of guy where, he can rush the passer. He can stop the run on the strong side if he is at D end. For the teams that value a little more athletic 3-technique defensive tackles, he can go in there and be disruptive and create some havoc.
Now, Preston Abbott asked a question, kind of what you mentioned here. He's a little bit of a tweener, can do both.
Yeah.
If you viewed him as an edge guy, he says, where would you have him ranked? So now edge, we think there are some really
There's some good. He'd be down the list a little bit there that way.
He would not crack your top 5.
No, not as far as what I take the edge and again, it's hard as far as I'm trying to encompass something that the whole league would like and makes sense the most for all those guys. There's some guys that are going to look at this guy, I'm sure, and go, hey, he's defensive end for us. This is what he is. 4-3 crash end, strong side defense end. That's what he is. But he's not like the kind of guy that I think you're going to look at quite yet and go, oh, well, might have the ability to go around the edge and be a 12-sack-a-year type of guy. No, that's not what he is. He's more D-tackle with some splash of D-end.
How many first-round guys you got here, you think, in this group?
I think 3, legitimately. I think our top 3 will definitely go in the first round. Maybe 4. The guy we're going to talk about here in a second, I think has some talents to kind of get into that conversation.
Let's do it. The guy that's on the fringes of the first round for 2 for a defensive tackle. And if you had trouble with the name Leal,
I know.
This one's going to
Go ahead. You lead the way here. Let me just piggyback off of this one.
Eyioma?
Yeah.
Uwazurike.
Eyioma Uwazurike. This was
Iowa State.
I love this kid. Like, from your hometown, first off, Detroit, Michigan.
He's from Detroit.
Right? Plays like a Detroit, Michigan guy.
Tough.
Can play every position on the defensive line.
8 Mile.
I mean, yes. Long-ass arms, explosive get-off, 6'6", 316. Usually guys that long, I go, well, how good are they going to be, like, taking on double teams, or when a compact, powerful lineman gets on them, 2 of them, what it's going to... I mean, guy is a player, first off, in that area. He arguably might be the best 2-gapper in the draft. And what I mean by that, his ability to stand people up and then just throw them to a side and disengage and do that, he's up there with the best in the draft that I've seen so far. His arm and length, his length in his arms and his power in his upper body are really special. And then his get-off, Ahmed, it's one of those things when you look at the get-off on film, you go, wait, is that the guy that nose tackle to start the film here? He's the guy I'm looking at? Whoa, I mean, he really exploded off the football. So there's real thing there. So you talk about the get-off and then his ability and the upper body and the strength, he gets under people's pads a lot and controls them, drives them back into the quarterback, does that. Phenomenal football player. And like I said, every scheme, almost every position other than true weak side pass rusher, this guy can play on your defensive line.
So versatility for this guy, the top 2 or the bottom 2 on your top 5 list here have
this is a different type of versatility, though.
Okay, how so?
Well, like, this guy could play shade nose and nose tackle and line up right over, and you go, whoa, he's got the power and the strength to handle that kind of fight. But then, has the ability, too, to go, okay, like we were talking about with DeMarvin Leal a minute ago, now let's just line up here and shoot this gap and just win that gap. And he's got the explosive ability and twitch to do that, too, to be disruptive. So I go 3 technique in a 4-3, shade nose in a 4-3, true nose tackle in a 3-4, and then 3-4 defensive end where you're like head up on the offensive tackle and you will be asked to 2-gap. Dude's a player, man. He's never on the ground. He plays hard. He to me was one of the pleasant surprises of the draft. I didn't think when I turned the film, I wasn't going, oh, I'm expecting to see a top 5-ish type of guy here. And I was pleasantly surprised by the film. Yeah, I mean, look at the Iowa game. Best center in the draft, first-round guy. I mean, he gave Linderbaum all he can handle at that position. I would bet you that he would say, oh, that was definitely the hardest guy I had to block all year.
Interesting.
Right.
Okay. All right. So you like what you saw on film, on tape. You talk to people that know him, too, off the field, too?
I mean, a little I've talked to people about him because I talked to him a little bit the other day when I got done with him, and I was going, have you guys, I sent out one of those texts to have you watched the Iowa State kid?
Yeah.
And then got some feedback.
People love him off the field. Yeah. I haven't talked to him, but if you read about people who have, his father died when he was 2019, had a troubled life. Eyioma, he struggled academically when he was in college, but in 2021, he was named to the academic all-conference team. First person from his family to graduate from college.
Wow.
And so it's like the scouts have raved about. You look at the character, and this is something that you can't evaluate with the tape.
No,
but sometimes,
but you can sometimes.
You can, right?
You can, no
this
doubt
guy
about
has
it.
A drive and a want to.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. You can. You could see a little bit into the person when you watch it on film. Like you could see a guy that doesn't give up. It's always pedal to the metal. Understands his job and what to do. Doesn't do his job. You can see when they don't care, when they care, when they don't care, right? So, yes, I mean, when you say these things, I go, well, his play kind of looks like he takes a lot of pride in it and is very professional with it.
So, Uwazurike, fringe first
rounder. I think, top 40 pick for me. He is. And if there's a team there sitting at the end of the first round that's looking to improve their D-line and needs some inside value type of guy, yeah, he's the guy for me. I was very impressed with this football player. And like we're going to say, floor, I mean, the great thing is I think he's one of the safer picks in the whole draft. The floor is extremely high. You're going to get a really good player. You might get that Pro Bowl, all pro player.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the ceiling's like, whoa, through the roof, but I think it's like starter, high-level starter for a long time.
All right, let's get to your first-round guys. Maybe the guys with more upside now. Number 3 in your defensive tackle rankings is
staying here in Connecticut right here for this one. Travis Jones, Connecticut.
A Connecticut guy, too.
A
Grew up in
Connecticut
New Haven.
guy, I know.
Stayed close to home
Yep.
and dominated. Many people said he was the best player on that team.
Well, I would have a hard time believing that there was too many people better than him. That's for sure. I mean, we're talking about
You're saying that's not a great compliment to the man?
Well, it's that team is not the best team in the world.
That's true.
But this dude, this is special. I mean, first off, if anybody's watching on YouTube, I mean, all you got to do, this is one of those guys when you turn it on and you go, whoa, wait, he's 325 and moves like that? Okay, whoa, okay. So that's the first thing you just jump out. But huge body, great looking body, a little different in, it's big butt, a little more in the middle, high, kind of a high waist, long arms. So to paint a picture from you that way, change direction. It's off the charts good for that size. I mean, he's a really good athlete. All right, he's well, I won't get into that. I was going to compare him to some guys we got coming up here in a minute. But like, the arm length and the two gapping is the first thing. And this is another thing, again, where you got to kind of watch and know what the player's being asked to do. He doesn't always get the green light to just fly up the field and go create havoc. They asked him to stand there, plug the middle, make it a mosh pit. Then when you see the guy coming your way, we want you to throw that 300-pounder off of you and make the tackle. That's all we're asking you to do. Big deal. And he does it. He is really special in that department. So, this is a guy a little raw, but, I mean, is a dancing bear in the middle of a defense. And a guy that can win with power, can win with, hey, just stand there and hold the point of attack, and also is athletic enough, I think, to where you're going to go, just shoot the gap. We just want you to win that gap and do that and create havoc and get upfield. He's going to kind of do it all that way. But I think it's his size, to be able to move that way with that size that makes him pretty special and a for sure first rounder.
A lot of the times with these defensive tackles, too, it's how often can you use them? How much of the game can they play?
Yes.
This guy started as a true freshman, played in 10 to 12 games, and he played a ton last year, 50 or more snaps in a game. So, I mean, how often are you looking at that? For a defensive tackle, it's like, I want my guy to be on the field, especially when you're playing in college most of the game.
This is why this guy, and we're going to have another big guy coming up in a little bit, that, there's people got to stop with this. Like, well, I don't know about his pass rush value. You're this big, this powerful. Like, there's real value with these guys. Ask a quarterback what it's like to drop back on third down with Vita Vea in Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah. Ask
him how that feels. Ask him about his pass rush value, because that's where there's great value. And yes, the kid's got a motor. He can, and so yeah, I don't think there's going to be any like, oh, first and second down, we got to take him off the field on third down. I think he's got all around 3 down value, and the 2 gapping it's him. I would probably say him and the kid we just talked about from Iowa State that were the best at it. They were phenomenal that way. Once this guy gets his arms on you and gets his arms locked out, and gets in this position, night. See you later. He's going to do whatever he wants with you. So that's where he's a really good football player. And I think once he unleashes and gets used to playing, or, just what do I want to say? Just gets unleashed as far as you don't always have to read it and two-gap it and do all that stuff. He's going to create more havoc and disruption than the college film shows.
A lot of people like him. Pro Football Focus described him as a quintessential block of granite at nose tackle with a touch of pocket-pushing ability thrown in right
I think
there.
It's going to be more than that when it's all said and done. I do. But, yeah, he's got it all. And he's got, I think, more potential to tap into as an athlete, too. I think just as far as how they used them and everything that way, the awareness in the backfield's big for me with these guys, right? Because they got to hold people up, and then it's like, do you see the ball? Do you know where it's coming? He was really good in that area. So, I just big guy, throws people off him, athletic. It's kind of a no-brainer, and he's going to fit with a 3-4 or 4-3. It doesn't really matter, and I would think he goes somewhere 20 to 32. Ahmed.
20 to 32.
That would be about the range I would say. Yeah, maybe 18 to 32, somewhere in that range.
Where do your top 2 guys go, you think?
Ooh, I think these top 2 guys, okay, and I mean, really, I don't even know which one's top 2. I have a hard time differentiating. The Georgia guys, okay, let's just get into it. To me, are both top 10 talents. Oh. Both of them.
In the entire draft?
The entire draft. These are 2 of the 10 best players in the NFL draft, and the Georgia D tackles deserve to be in that conversation. I mean, the first one, let's hit on number 2. Devonte Wyatt from Georgia. So much gets made about some of the other guys on their football team. I guess I just, again, as a casual football watcher during the season, I guess I just didn't really realize how freaking good this guy is. Devonte Wyatt is like, the film is good or better than Quinnen Williams, who was the 3 pick of the draft a few years ago coming out of Alabama. To me, that's when I walked away, I just went, I don't understand why are people not talking about this guy more? The film's better than Quinnen Williams. He was a slam dunk. Like, people were going, well, maybe Quinnen Williams will be the number 1 pick of the draft. I mean, or number 2 pick. You're hearing all those type of things. This guy's every bit as worthy in that department. I mean, 2-gapping stuff, which they asked him to do, right? Mm-hmm. That's not his cup of tea. This is not what he's put on earth to do in this department. His cup of tea it's Warren Sappish type of stuff. It's that kind of guy. It's 3 technique, like we've talked about. You're so explosive off the ball and quick with your hands, and explosive in awkward positions. We want you just to create havoc and just mess up the play. That's what this guy can be. I mean, he was phenomenal.
I would say, he's a mess up the play guy. You don't call it the same thing.
I don't call it the same thing. He's kind of a up the play guy, but yeah, I mean,
and he's not that big. I mean, he's not like in the land of
that's
giants.
What's funny when we say, he's not that big. He's 304.
I know. In the land of giants, he's 304. But yeah, his height, weight, wingspan, arm length, all that stuff is lesser than average.
That's why there's going to be some teams that are going to go, I don't love that guy. he's going to be a little bit of to me, the 4-3 team. Again, the Seattle scheme teams, the teams that, live in that life. I don't think like the New Englands of the world are going to like Devonte Wyatt, where they want that guy to stand him up and do all of that. This is more of, you just got to unleash this guy and let him just the play up, like you just said, in your own words, and let him do that.
Don't put words
that's what
in my
he
mouth.
is. I know, I won't. Elite athlete, Ahmed. Elite.
First step is as good as it gets in this draft class,
Yes.
according to Pro Football Focus. Explosive there. Here are some of the measurables if you're watching on YouTube or on Peacock. The 40-yard dash in the 97th percentile, 10-yard split, 93rd percentile. So very athletic guy getting off the ball. A lot of people like him. So you like him so much.
I know. Well,
and it's no mystery why Georgia was a good team last year. I'm looking at all these position rankings, especially on the defensive side. I was like, some of them, they're like 3 Georgia dudes. I was like,
it's the greatest college defense in the
3.
history of football. The greatest college defense in the history of college football.
Talent-wise or in execution?
Well, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, you could really go, because Kirby Smart's a hell of a coach.
Sure.
I would honestly go like Kirby Smart, he could have, the way they played their scheme-wise this year might have actually hurt this group. Because the way he plays his scheme is great, but this is a group that was so good and could have just steamrolled everybody that they could have played like just everybody shoot a gap and they'll never move the ball on us ever, and they would have dominated. But like that, it's amazing, Ahmed. It's amazing. I mean, I'm gonna. We got 2 Georgia linebackers coming up later in the draft.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
And some people have 3 Georgia linebackers that they really
hear
like.
you. But quick, aggressive, hands as a pass rusher are dangerous. The ability to bend around the edge is that of a defensive end, a good pass rushing defensive end. For 307, the size concern like you're talking about,
right.
It's pretty damn good as far as taking on double teams. The way he can get off the ball and explode, he can stop that momentum with the double team to a degree. So, and as I went on, I wrote, man, I mean, the guy has enough strength and power that you could play him at shade nose tackle if you had to, and do that. And then I kind of ended it off as just like, why is this kid not getting more buzz? I mean, he reminds me of Quinnen Williams, but the film is better. So I just wasn't expecting to see that, I wrote. And then change of direction ability off the charts, and then any negative plays to me that I came down to, and there's very few negative to begin with. It's just like, it's the same thing where you've heard me talk about this before. He's in this gap, and when they say set hut, they want you to go 2 gaps down to the right, and stop there with a guy that's 300 pounds on your back when it's time to stop, and that's not always that easy. He's not going to be doing that stuff a ton in the NFL. Awesome player. Top 10 pick for me. Top 12, top 15, whatever. Definitely one of the best defensive players in the draft.
So you like him a lot.
I do. I mean, it's almost
Clearly.
like 1A-ish.
Clearly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there is a reason, though, why you have Jordan Davis, his Georgia teammate, ahead of him, even if it is slightly.
Yeah.
So let's get to your number one player.
The big boy, Jordan Davis. I just, there's not many people I think that you can ever compare to in the history of the NFL draft to this guy. This is where I look at it as special. Size-wise, and then the athleticism on top of it. Like you just heard me talk about Vita Vea, right? Excuse me. I'm drinking coffee. Vita Vea, I can't remember exactly where he got drafted. I want to say 20s, right in there, maybe. Matt, if you could look that up. But my point is, if Vita Vea was redrafted and we all knew what he was going to be, like you'd go, oh, that's top 5, top 10 pick.
12.
He was 12. That's what it was. This is a better Vita Vea. You draft Vita Vea earlier. This is Vita Vea with another notch up in all athleticism areas with more what I would call range. Vita Vea can explode off the ball and push the pass rush and hold his ground versus double teams and do all that. That's cool. Jordan Davis can do all that. The difference is Jordan Davis, you could do a toss sweep to Alvin Kamara, and he could be like, what? Okay, hold on. I got to make a right turn, and I'm going to run this mother effer down right at the line of scrimmage and go down the hill, down the sideline, and run him down and make the tackle there. So that's where I say the range part. Like, it's really rare to see all of these things together. I mean, it's the most proportionate 340 I've ever seen. I mean, agile, pliable, I mean, they ask him to shoot gaps and do athletic things. He does it at a very high level. Has a real ability to change direction and redirect. Can win with the quicks, like we talked about. But, quicks or power can do it. Like, that's what's weird. You see him steamroll somebody early in the game, Ahmed, and then 4 plays later, you see him do like a shake and break somebody's ankles. And you go, are you kidding me? Like, he just steamrolled the guy, and now he's breaking his ankles. So that's where he's special. Then, you get into the two-gapping stuff and the double teams. I mean, what do you think? Do you think the guy at 341 is going to be good at double teams?
Seems likely.
Yeah, right? And 34-inch arms and two-gapping. It, to me, is just like, it's a can't miss. Like, it's just, he's phenomenal. And, yes, I do think he's a top 10 pick in the draft. I mean, look at this.
We show the measurables of all these guys, and the more green you have, the better it is. It means you're more elite at more things. His is basically all green.
Yeah, it's a circle almost.
It's almost a circle.
And here's what I'm worried about with this. Well, just what you were just talking about a few minutes ago. Well, third down pass rush. There's going to be teams that are going to try to, like, say that.
Well, he didn't play a whole lot.
I know.
Right? I mean, and some people say it's because he wore down. Maybe he wasn't conditioned.
Sure. You're going to have to, like, watch it a little bit. I mean, he's not going to be able – if you have an 80-snap game, yeah, he's not going to be able to play 80 snaps. He's not going to be able to do that. But, like, will he be able to play 65 of them? I do think so. I do. I didn't come away looking at it going, man, this big sucker runs out of gas a lot. I did not, like, think that was an overwhelming factor for me.
John Yohanahan?
Yeah.
Hi, Ahmed. You should brush your teeth twice a day.
There. I agree with that. You should. You should.
I do it in the morning. I've done it for you. I do it for you before every pod.
Remember this, too.
But is Jordan Davis only a two-down player?
No.
Can he be asked to rush the passer on obvious passing downs?
Yeah, he can.
He didn't want to just make the point about my brushing teeth. He wanted to also make a point
It's well said. It was a good question and a good statement altogether.
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to be able to do all that. Even the NFL game, harder, better, the pace isn't always the same either. The pace is not always the same. College, I mean, get up the huddle, sit on, let me look at the sideline. We're going to run this play. Get up let's line up to the line of scrimmage. I mean, that doesn't play in the favor of a guy like Jordan Davis.
Sure.
The NFL game's not like that. That's this okay, there's a few games here and there you're going to see, The offense is also conscious of what the defense is doing in the NFL a little too, to go like, all right, our defense is on the field. Well, let's run the ball here and rest them. There's more of a complete game here that way, so it's less of a concern for me. And, yes, he's going to be able to rush the passer. He is. He's going to be a pain in the ass. You're going to be able to find alignments and go, okay, we got an alignment here to where it's him on the center on 3rd and 8. Are you kidding me? Like, and all you got to do, we don't want you to worry about the run. All you got to do is shoot off the ball and push the guy back. When he has clips of like that, it's like, see you later. You're done. I mean, it's freaky.
How high would you draft him? Like, what would be the highest point if a team needed a stud in the middle on defense?
I mean, again, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I wouldn't be afraid to go with a top 5 with this guy. I would not. I don't know. I guess I'm different that way. But to me, where it gets lost is this. D tackle is being underrated in my eyes in the draft evaluations, the media, and even with some teams. Usually really good teams have good D tackles, right? Like Super Bowl, you can start right there, right? I mean, definitely can. DJ Reader, I mean, he was a huge part of why Aaron Donald, what he did there. The 49ers, good D tackles, right? They got what did the Kansas City Chiefs got? Oh, Chris Jones, right? D tackle can affect every play. That's where people are missing the ball a little bit. Like you run right or run left, they're still there in the middle, ready to do that. Then the pass game too. So to me, there's more value there than I think what the general public thinks of the position.
Have there just been some misses lately at that position?
I don't know.
I'm thinking like Javon Kinlaw injury. It's like you have weight issues. Maybe
the number. I can continue along the other way. Like, so the number 2 defense in football. Guess what they did a few years ago? Drafted Derek Brown and the defensive tackle at number 7 of the draft. I mean, these two, to me, the Georgia guys are every bit in that class of type of player, or the Quinnen Williams, like you heard me talk about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. I don't know. There hasn't really been the misses or anything like that can jump out to me. It's just not sexy. And you can't always sell it to your fan base either because of sacks and production and people, that's all they talk about. But, like we were talking, the D tackles around the ball a lot.
Top 5 is complete on the defensive tackle side. 2 Georgia guys. They're 1 and 2. You got Travis Jones from UConn, number 3. You think all 3 of those guys are first-round talents. Maybe 4 is a fringe and 5 is in the second round.
Yes.
We're moving on to linebackers next, but we're going to talk about more Georgia guys here. And I kind of wanted to bring something up here because that, you said, one of the most talented defenses, perhaps the most talented defense that you've ever seen in college, the best defense. Is there a danger, though? Sometimes you fear this. There's so many good guys everywhere.
Right.
It's just so easy for everyone, right? It's like you don't have to make up for the guy on your left, the guy on your right. You can just do your job.
I got you.
And you can be awesome. I mean, like, is there a worry that all these guys are inflating each other's draft stock?
No, I mean, I hear you.
It just looks so good on tape because of everyone else around them.
I know. It's what's different about them is they play a different style of football than most. It's them in Alabama. They do the same thing here. Like I talked about, most of college football just lets their people go.
Mm-hmm.
They got like rules to follow every play. I mean, real rules that they have to follow and kind of read and do that. So you can really see the guys having to do their singular job. It's not like, oh, he got the sack, but damn, the D tackle got in there and made the guy miss, and that's why he got the sack. It's not that. If I started to see a lot of that, I'd go, oh, damn, that concerns me. But usually when you look at the plays that are good or bad, it's them. It's that. It's not like Wyatt got a sack because Walker really caused the issue and then he just fell in Wyatt's lap. I didn't see that. So I hear you. It's always something I think about. And, of course, you have to think about it now because we have 3 schools that stand above the rest of college, or 4 schools that stand above the rest of college football, and Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Clemson, to where you always got to take that into account to a degree.
Yep, because we got a couple more Georgia guys in the mix here for your linebackers. And before we get into your number 5 here, the linebacker position, this is the last one we're going to do.
Yep.
You've reached the finish line.
Thank you.
Has this one changed more so than other positions? I'm thinking about when we're growing up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And it was like the middle linebacker was like
Right.
the anchor of the defense, the big, strong bruiser that would come up, make hits. He was the leader, had the neck roll, too. Maybe he was wearing 2 neck rolls at the time, too. I mean, it seems like that position has changed significantly.
Definitely. You're right about that. No question. That's rare, that guy anymore. Right, and you got some teams that they like their linebackers so small now that they don't even really like evaluate linebackers. They go, who's the safety? Who's the big safety of the group that we could get to make them down? So that's where there's very few teams that still believe in the traditional, what you're talking about,
right?
Thumping middle linebacker. And those are the teams that are a little bit more of the 3-4 base thoughts, like we've talked about there with the D tackles, because at times it's, just think of New England. It's a 3-4. There's times where, hey, there's nobody over the guard. The guard is clear. So he can just run up the Dante Hightower. Like, there's nothing to stop him. So Dante better be big and strong to be able to go, whoa, I got a guard coming at me. I'm just a middle linebacker. I better be able to take this guy on and do this here. And that's, them. They're certainly one of those teams. The Ravens to a degree. You see the Saints do that a little bit. But it's a limited few as far as those guys you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe not as sexy of a position as it was back when we were growing up. But last year there were a couple sexy players. Micah Parsons was awesome.
No doubt.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, you loved on tape there.
Yeah.
It didn't all come together maybe for him and that whole Cleveland Browns team.
I know, but he played awesome.
Yeah.
He played awesome. He was great. He really was. Nobody beat Micah Parsons. I mean,
yeah.
Again, last year in the draft, that would be another one. If we were reminded, I would go, he was one of the 3 best players in the draft. The only reason he was drafted at number 11 is because he didn't play because of COVID. So he was phenomenal, no doubt about it. He's a difference maker, and we got some guys here that
are they as sexy this year, you think? I mean, maybe not a Micah Parsons.
Maybe not quite that. The guy that we're going to have number 1 has a very similar skill set to Micah Parsons, though, to where he can be used in that way of stand-up linebacker and real third-down pass rusher. And that's where we could be interesting here.
All right, that'll be number 1, but we start with number 5, as we always do, except for offensive linemen, where you did 6, above and beyond, even this late into the scouting season. Number 5 linebacker for your 2022 draft rankings.
Yeah, number 5 here, we're going with Damone Clark. I hope I said that right.
Did, Damone.
All right, good.
Yep.
Damone, LSU. I mean, come on. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
LSU, Georgia, Bama, they always got really good You know, linebackers that can fly and are physical. This was a tough one. I mean, I made him number 5. I really like him. You know, he's extremely athletic. In fact, I thought he even played faster than his 4.57 speed. As the year went on, the thing I liked about the guy is he just got better and better. I mean, he's tough as hell. Sideline to sideline, he's great. I mean, anything that way, he's going to run you down, all right? Doesn't always take the right angle and all of that, but you know, all in all, those are like minor things where I go, you can be coached. You can get better in those areas. You know, plays a little high at times. Wish he would get off blocks a little bit better. But all in all, we're talking about, you know, a long-time starting middle linebacker that has length and speed, and they'll hit you. And, yeah, there's some stuff he's got to work on, but, you know, I really like the football player. And I think when you're talking about, right, what you just brought up, the modern-day NFL, the kind of guy you're looking for, this is the kind of guy everybody's looking for. 6'2.5", 239. Oh, wait, he can run down the middle with Travis Kelce. Great. Oh, wait, they got a pulling guard. He's got to smash him. Great. He can do that too. You know, so that's where he's got value. And like I said, when I first turned it on, I was going, a little raw, you know, oh, I wish he was a little more disciplined. As the year went on, I kept going, man, this guy, he's getting better and better. He understands what to do, and he got better at some of the physical things as well. Yeah, I like this player a lot. I think we're talking about like a mid second round, late second round type of pick here.
Good that you kept watching the tape then. You didn't turn it off after the first few games.
I always divvy it up that way. You got to make sure you split it, you know, because also, too, you never know. Oh, did the guy get off to a slow start?
Sure.
You know, maybe there was a part in the year where maybe he had a little injury. So to me, if you want to get the full picture, you can't pick like 3 games that are the start of the year. And I try to pick one early, one in the middle, one towards the end. That's kind of how I try to do it.
Yeah, that's what NFL.com quoted a pro personnel director for an NFC team, said size, speed, production, he's got it. The rest of it can be coached. So kind of like the ability is there, and he did come on at the end of the year, and kind of like we were talking about with some of the other players in this draft, faced some adversity off the field. His family was living in New Orleans, had to leave because of Hurricane Katrina, moved to Baton Rouge, obviously created a home for him there, and then just continued to get better as his career went on. Concerns for him, though, what would they be? You know, why is he 5?
I think just the little bit of like, just got to get better at getting off blocks, staying disciplined in your gap that way. You know, what was the other thing I wrote? You know, just having a little bit more of a natural feel for plays and what's coming. You know, there's times you could tell there's like, wait, what play are they running back there? You know, I think there was a little bit of that. And not quite as good in the trash as some of the guys we're going to talk about. When I say trash is, yeah, you're playing middle linebacker. Yeah, you got to be able to take on guys and get off and get the block, or, you know, weave your way in and through guys and then make the tackle, right? That's playing middle linebacker. Some of that, and again, we're holding this to top 5 in the draft standards here. So, yeah, some of that is not up with the other guys. Really good. You think about Willie Gay, it was a Willie Gay, the pick from Mississippi State, middle linebacker that went on and played for Kansas City this year. You know, to me, he's that type of guy, but with a little bit more size. I really like this player, and I think he's made for the NFL.
Now, doctors at the Combine discovered he had a herniated disc, had a spinal fusion surgery in March, will not play the season, though he is expected to make a full recovery.
Yeah, so that's an issue for sure.
That'll
I didn't
drop him
realize it
down.
was that serious.
That's what Pete has written in our rundown here. So
Okay.
Pete has done his own evaluation.
Well,
So
Pete's good. All right, so, and just so people know, the guy that I want to make sure everybody knows that was right there, you know, who I really kind of went back and forth with.
Who could have been number 5.
Could have been number 5 is the kid from is Muma.
Chad
Muma
from
Wyoming. You know, he was a really good football player. He's a natural football player. But, yeah, just didn't think he was quite the athlete and as physical as Damone Clark.
Okay, and now hearing about the surgery, maybe you're putting in Muma into
well, it definitely, you know,
position.
herniated disc and all that. That's going to scare teams for sure. There's
Yep.
no question about that.
All right, but he's number 5 for you right now in your linebacker rankings. Your number 4
Yep.
is a guy who should be honored to be in the top 5, but
Yeah,
you're
he
probably
ain't going to be happy.
You're lower on him than a lot of other people are.
Yes, I know. This is, you know, the man of the hour at the position. Nakobe Dean will be my number 4 linebacker.
A lot of people's number 1.
I get it, you know. Well, I don't get it. I don't get why he would be your number one. I don't. It's to me, this is one where it's just a little bit off of reputation, where he was ranked in high school, and then going to Ohio State. Really good football player. There's no question. I'm not sold this is a definite first rounder, though. There's going to be teams that love him. The 4-3 teams who like speed linebackers and all of that, yeah, they're going to like him. So maybe some of those Seattle schemes, he's Denzel Perryman to me, right? All right, that's the name that I kept coming up to. Really good NFL, smaller middle linebacker, but to me, not a guy you take in the top 20 of the draft. So
6 foot, 225.
Yeah, it's
5'11",
5'11". It is. It's 5'11" official at the combine. But the athlete is good. But I wasn't like, oh my gosh, wow, this is unreal. I can't believe this. This wasn't like I turned on the film and saw Roquan Smith or Patrick Queen.
That's who he's compared to.
I know. There's a similar. I get that comparison.
Height there for Dean is in the 5th percentile. So, yeah, he is smaller, undersized for the position, which is not a knock that you give everyone. I mean, you've had some on the offensive side of the ball, some undersized offensive linemen you think can still do it.
Definitely. It's not a position that, size predicates all. There's going to be a little beauty in the eye of the beholder like we always talk about. But, again, for a smaller guy, and I'm trying to just paint. It's not. This isn't Devin Bush or Devin White from a few years ago. It's not. It's not that. That was like you turned it on. You were like, oh my gosh, they got rockets up their ass. These two, and then you were like, oh my gosh, they hit like sledgehammers. This guy has partial rocket up his ass, but not the full-fledged rocket up his ass like that way. He's physical. And certainly brings it, and he's fun to watch. And this is what I hate about the draft because I like this kid. I just don't like him as much as the other three we're going to talk about. There's no hesitation in his game that way, but change of direction, stuff like that, not very good. He will miss tackles in the open field. He's a little stiff that way as far as that's concerned. Then the ability, to get off blocks and fight through the trash, I thought was good, but I did not think was great, especially the getting off the blocks part. He can definitely get swallowed up and have an issue there. Now, you want to talk about if there is one guy, in my opinion, that can benefit from all the things you asked about the D tackles and maybe this is the guy that benefited. Here's the guy that got put in the position to go, hey, you're behind the greatest defensive line in the history of football. Now just go make a tackle. And so to me, that's where it's a little overrated. And I know I'm in the minority. And again, it's not personal.
Well, I mean, that's a good point because the production was high and he won the Butkus Award at Georgia, also won it in high school.
Yeah.
The third player to ever do that. Manti Te'o and Jalen Smith both did that as well. So, I mean, you're getting a guy who starred and had high production, high amount of tackles on a big-time team, but you think that the production outweighs the talent level.
Yeah, just a little bit. On this one, just a little bit. I do. Yeah. And again, I'm trying to, make this translation to the NFL game, which is different than college football. But yeah, when you hear me talk about, playing through the trash, I'm big on that. It's middle linebacker. Can you dig and weave and slip and slide your way through to make a tackle? Oh, wait, now the guard's on you. Can you hit him and kind of get off of him and now make a tackle? Those are things that are not the best for him. They're not. And, the acceleration, the twitch, that's, to me, the other reason he's not in that Devin Bush or Devin White or Roquan Smith category. First off, if his speed was like that, you know what he would have done? He would have run a 40. All he had to do is run a 4.5, and you shut everybody up, right? He was running a number he doesn't like. The film kind of shows that. Again, it's not that it's bad, but I wrote down on film he looks like he's a 4.6 guy, somewhere around there. 5'11", 4.6 is not going to go over as big as we think he's a 4.5 or a 4.4 guy at 5'11", and the tape's good. So he made the right decision there. I'm not mad at him. But, yeah, those were some of my concerns there. With him a little bit.
And so you would not take him in the first round, I'm feeling.
He would be end of the first round for a 4-3-ish, we like speed linebackers type of team. That to me would be, I wrote down 25 to 40. That was kind of the range I threw him in. All right, so right around that range, yes. But again, like I said, I guess I wasn't as impressed with him in the open field. And when I say open field, I don't mean like running somebody down from behind. I mean, it's open field, and the guy can go any way he wants, and you got to break down and make the tackle with him. That, to me, was a little less than what I was expecting. We talk about the size and all that.
Right.
You know, as far as the guys we're going to get to here in a minute, I thought he was a little slower to recognize plays as compared to them, too. You know, so that was the thing. And, again, I want to make this very clear. This is a good player, you know. I just wrote, I wish he was a hair bigger. I wish he was a hair faster. I wish he was a hair more reckless and physical, you know. And he is behind the greatest DT duo in the history of college football.
Yeah.
You know, he flips his hips nicely in the pass game, but when breaking down wide base one-on-one like we were just talking about, it's not where I want it to be. You know, I wrote, this is not White or Raquan Smith. Good player, not wow. Can play small between the tackles and range to sideline. I wrote is good, but not as great as everybody's making it out to be.
He did not run at the pro day or test at the pro day due to a pec strain, I'm reading here. So maybe that's his reason.
I mean, hey, whatever.
We invite him to come to Stamford, Connecticut, run a 40 in the parking lot.
He's again
to quiet all doubters.
I have respect this kid. I just want to make sure that's
he's in your top 5. He's in your top 5.
I know.
But if you're lower on him, that must mean you're higher on some other players, and I feel like you're higher on number 3
I am.
than a lot of the community out there.
Yeah, I'm definitely higher on Leo Chenal. Did I say that right?
Chenal number 5. And he was number 5 in college, I believe.
He was number 5 in college, and people got to start giving this damn guy some respect.
He's number 3 on your list.
I mean, I don't, again, here's one where I just go, I don't understand what we're seeing. I don't understand it. So here's a guy that's 6'3", 250. He's 4 inches taller than the guy we just talked about. He's 21 pounds bigger than the guy we just talked about. He's clearly faster than the guy we just talked about. All you got to do is turn on the film and go, this guy's faster, period. He takes on blocks better. He gets off blocks better, but he's white and went to Wisconsin, so we can't make him that good of a player. That to me, is what it kind of goes down to. This is a guy that's definitely being hurt by the pale skin effort and the Wisconsin effort. The people go, I don't know if they can really be that freaky at that position up there. It feels like some of that to me here. I do. And then when I, like, because I'm watching, this is what happens to me, and I know you're giggling because I'm saying crazy shit here, but, like, this is what I turn on. When I turn on a guy like this, and I get through the first game, and I go, this guy is amazing. Like, why has nobody, and I start looking in the computer, like, what's anybody saying about this kid?
Yeah.
How come I have not heard about him? And then you hear, and then it's like, it's all the scouting adages of, like, the white guy. Oh, we're not sure about how athletic he is, and we're not sure if he has pass game value. I mean, what? I don't, it's insane. It's insane to me. This is
an athletic player.
Like, an extremely athletic player. Like, I mean, just first off, the body is wow. All right? It's wow. You want me to read my thing here? Just quote for fun. I wrote, wow. My kind of mofo at middle linebacker. Thick as hell, thumper looking, wow legs, and a wow ass. All right? And then I wrote, like, right away, twitchy and explosiveness is, like, real. And then, you know, like, one of the second or third plays, like, he shoots a gap and runs it, and I went, holy shit, like, the acceleration is impressive. When he sees it, he comes downhill in a hurry. You know, very comfortable in the trash and can do it all in that. That's what I mean. He could take the block on. He could shed the block. He can dip and weave and go around a block to make the tackle. I mean, to me, he was a natural that way. I mean, it was just easy for him. So, you know, from that stuff, I loved it. You know, also, you know, change of direction, I thought was very good. Again, maybe not the flipping of the hips and coverage. That is probably where he can use a little work. But again, with how fast he is, and it's not like we're talking about a robot here. It's good enough. But this is the other area I loved him. Change of direction in the way that we talked about a minute ago. Wide base, it's split. The guy can go either way. I thought he was very good in that department. Ball going down the line of scrimmage, his ability to side shuffle and stay square so he can stay in the gap. So wait, now the running back's turned it up into my gap. He's ready to go. You stop on contact. Oh, you hit Chenal? You stop there. Chenal. Right. So I wasn't, dude's physical in all areas. There's no hesitation. natural at taking on blockers, can stand them up, can disengage, finds the football. Why aren't more people talking about this f***ing guy? He's really good. He's totally capable of being a 3-down linebacker. He's the most natural linebacker in the draft, as well as up there as the most physically gifted. Natural instincts, understands the game and the gap discipline at the position. He's QB of the defense. And then I wrote, I love this kid. He's definitely in the best linebacker convo. And I wrote, he's more athletic DeMario Davis to me. I mean, we're talking about that kind of guy.
Well, his athleticism goes back into high school, too. He was named Wisconsin's offensive and defensive player of the year. He was a linebacker and running back in high school. His combine numbers were really good. Last thing Pro Football Focus said, those that covet a brick wall coming downhill will not find a better option in this class.
Yeah.
So we like brick walls.
Well, we like brick walls. We do.
You don't like to run into them if you're running back.
No, but I like, and if the brick wall can run to add with that, I mean, then you sign me up.
Yep.
That's just, I think this guy's being undervalued. I really do. Now, I don't know where he's going to go. I kind of wrote down the same thing I wrote down for our last player. It's 25 to 40 in that range for me. Again, there's going to be some teams that are going to look at him. Some of those 4-3 teams that we talked about that might like Nakobe Dean, they probably won't like Leo Chenal. That's not their kind of guy. They're going to want, but what I want to say is I think he is their kind of guy. I think they're kind of biased and predetermining by the look of the player. And I want to go, I'm telling you, I think he can do everything Nakobe Dean can do in those space things and better. And that's why he's number 3 for me.
You're sensing some team could get a good value on Leo Chenal out there, your number 3 linebacker. You might have to spend a little bit higher draft pick on your top 2. And for number 2, we go back to Georgia.
Quay Walker. Fucking baller. Quay Baller Walker. He's another one of those guys that, like we talked about with the Iowa State guy or some of those where it's just like you turn it on and, I heard the guy was pretty good. And then it's like, whoa, are you kidding me? There was just a longer linebacker. This is like, longer, thinner frame. But well put together thinner frame. I mean, it's not like it's like thin. It's
6'4",
like
240.
Yeah. He's got some, and this is Nakobe Dean right here. This is not Quay Walker if you're watching on YouTube. But, yeah, just has the look of being really, really athletic. To me, almost in his uniform, it looked like a kind of like a Fred Warner-ish type of look, if that makes sense. Fred Warner, I think, was 6'3" coming out around that, 237, 238. But it's that look. Both of these top 2 linebackers are going to hit on here have that. But, yes, this guy, 1, is a better player than Nakobe Dean. 2, he's more made for the NFL than Nakobe Dean. In all areas, all schemes will like him. And there's more versatility to the player, too. Really phenomenal. And I'll get into some of the specifics after you talk because I know I'm talking too much.
No. That's good. It's interesting because, we've talked about all the talent on Georgia's team. And so sometimes you get overlooked. Sometimes you got to transfer if you're one player. But he barely played his first 2 seasons at Georgia. Was a rotational player in 2020.
Yeah.
Finally became a starter in 2021. That's just a function of there being so many great players.
It's tough in Georgia. It's tough in Alabama.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
That doesn't concern you, though.
Well, top 10 pick in the draft, Jermaine Johnson from Florida State had to leave Georgia.
Yeah.
It's just, some guys don't want to wait their turn. Sometimes they do want to wait their turn. Sometimes, the system doesn't fit you or whatever, and you need to go somewhere else, whatever. He's, it's every college kid, every high school kid in the world wants to go to Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State.
He's still young. He's still 21. Turns 22 in May.
Got it all, Ahmed. I'm just going to go through it. Elite mover. Elite. Now, he didn't get to be just the true middle linebacker. When there was a slot receiver on the field or 3 receivers, he had to be the linebacker that kind of bumped out because he was better in space than Nakobe Dean. So Nakobe Dean got to be put in the position to get the stats more, to where they asked this guy to do, I feel like, the more advanced stuff, right? That would be the first thing I would tell you. But, elite mover, phenomenal hips. And then when you see the guy, you go, well, he's a little longer and he's this great athlete. Well, how good can he really be in between the tackles and doing all that? Physicality's real. And then he's not just a space linebacker. He was really good between the tackles. I mean, really good. Again, because of the length and everything there, he can take on some blockers and get rid of them. And then, you know me, as you've heard obviously here, the ability to weave through traffic and deal with that and still make a tackle or get a hit on the ball. He's as good as anybody in the draft, except for the guy we're going to talk about in 2 seconds. The ability to shuffle down the line of scrimmage, stay square, it's up there with our guy Chenal, who we just talked to from Wisconsin. So twitchy. Hips are amazing. When you talk about coverage, the ability to flip hips, cover Travis Kelce, and then the ability to put his foot in the ground and break on the ball, it's high level, like DB almost that way. I mean, he is really fluid and smooth and easy. He plays faster than 4.52, which was his combine time. His read and react is as good as anybody in the draft. Anybody. When he saw a play, he went and he reacted quicker than anybody I saw in this draft. He is all over it. This guy is going to be drafted up there. I mean, this is a guy that I think the league is keeping him quiet. Everybody likes Nakobe Dean. Don't tell about the other guy. Because this is one of those where just like the last guy, whoa, the other Georgia linebacker. Holy crap. Hey, friend from other team. Yeah, I know. Isn't he a hell of a player? He'll probably get drafted in front of Dean. I got a lot of texts like that. And I'm just, holy shit. Yeah, I can see why. Natural nose of the ball. Going to be a pain in the ass in zone coverage, too, because of how long he is and how he can move that way. He's a matchup guy for tight ends, like we talked about. Let's see. Fits any schemes. You heard that Fred Warner thing. And yeah, I compared him a little bit to Dean because I had just watched him over. I think he fits more schemes than teammate Dean. Between the tackles, I thought he was better than Dean. But the avoiding the blockers, the pass game value, faster, longer. He's going to get thicker. Has an incredibly high ceiling.
Going to get thicker. That was the only thing he doesn't have is the wows that you gave to Chenal for the rear and the legs. Channing Tindall was another guy, Georgia, too, who's in the mix for one of the top linebackers. Going to be drafted,
and yes, tall, just not quite the player, the athlete these guys are. A little bit stiff, right? So just he's a drop down, but a mid-round pick.
Yeah, they're all going to get drafted somewhere. It's crazy. 3 linebackers from 1 defense, all going to get drafted. You like Quay Walker, number 2.
3 D linemen that all should be in the top 10, in my opinion. Right. A safety that's a first-round safety and sign. I mean, it's amazing.
I'm starting to think that Georgia, at least defensively, may have been able to win a game in the NFL. There's always that debate, right?
Yeah,
could the best college team beat the worst NFL team? I mean, with that defense,
yes,
starting to sound like they would have given a lot of offenses some trouble in the NFL. You like him, Quay Walker, number 2.
Yeah.
You didn't like him as much as your number 1 guy.
Yeah. Well, this guy's got some really freaky traits. Walker's not far off from this guy. All right. I think and Walker too, to add he's got a little value as a pass rusher on the edge too. Okay. That's another reason I made him. Pass rusher on the edge, if you wanted to make him a stand-up outside linebacker for a year or 2 before you moved him inside because you had other guys, he's phenomenal at the end of the line of scrimmage and holds his own and doing all that. Now we get to this guy who's a lot like that, but better in those areas.
Devin Lloyd from Utah.
Thank you for keeping me straight there. This is an interesting guy. Another guy that I kind of wrote down has this Fred Warner-ish type of body. And what I mean by that is like good legs, they got a skinny waist and, some square shoulders. And you just go, man, they just look like they're athletic and powerful. That's Jamie Collins. Remember Jamie Collins from it's that kind of guy. Maybe that's who I should have said he was. With Micah Parsons' versatility. And that's the big thing here. First off, this is a longer Isaiah Simmons-looking guy, right? Let's say that. But a better player than Isaiah Simmons. Maybe not the specimen quite, the athlete. This guy's 6'3", 237, right? He ran 4.66 or something like that.
Yeah,
plays faster than that.
Came to Utah as a safety and then bulked up and became a linebacker.
I could see that. I think the first thing I would talk about is nobody's better at getting off blocks than this kid at middle linebacker. I mean, nobody can block this kid at middle linebacker. So that's what I loved about him. He sees it, shoots his gun. You know I'm about that. Middle linebacker, I'm big into hesitation, no hesitation. The good ones don't hesitate. They just go, okay, this might hurt, but I'm going. All right, so what? Here we go. That's what they do. And that's what I loved about him. But then, like, getting off blocks, you know, again, the fighting through the trash, he is elite in those areas. I mean, just throwing people away, or again, the dodging of weaving of blockers and still making a tackle. I mean, he's a natural playing that way. So that's where I really loved it. You know, the side shuffle, all of that. His upper body strength to get off him, off the blocks, or set the edge as a defensive end or outside linebacker, it's off the charts good for his size. And then there's like legit pass rush value to go on top of that. I mean, legit, like where you'd go, yeah, hit third down. This guy's going to be able to line up, and we're going to be able to like depend on him, and he's going to get pressure on the quarterback and cause some issues there. So that's where he's rare. He really is rare. He's kind of a unique human being all in his own right. He's got a lot of elite aspects of his game. And again, another guy that's going to kind of fit in any scheme.
At Plug and Play 16 says, hey, Chris and Ahmed, really like Devin Lloyd, long, rangy linebacker, kind of similar body to Darius Leonard. Wondering if you see him being an impact player like Leonard.
Yeah, I do. And I, you know, he's got better strength than Leonard. You know, Leonard is, you know, of course, a 218-pound man here. We're talking about a guy here that I go, he's 237. He'll be 245 or 247 within the next 12 months. I mean, that's just what happens with these guys more times than not. You know, so he's got more of a physical element to his game that Leonard does not have. I'm not going to say he's quite the athlete Leonard is, though, either. Now, you know, in some areas, you know, is the like, you know, in some areas as far as like flipping hips and stuff like that in coverage, that it's not the best. I wish it was a little bit better. But again, his ability to change direction and his length and stuff like that is going to be a handful in the middle of a defense. I used to hate playing linebackers like that because you just go, oh, there's the zone hole, and you just go, man, it's there, but damn, it's hard to get it up and over that guy right there. Or, damn, there's a hole to the right of him. I want to throw it, but he's pretty quick and got long arms to stick his damn arm out there and tip the ball in the air. You know, there's real value in that. So, you know, that's where I really liked him. Showed, like, at some plays, I mean, you watch him accelerate, and you go, whoa. So it's in there for him. You know, the heavy hands, the ability to punch, you know, even as a speed to power, you know, really slick and shifty like I talked about to make people miss in the run or pass game. His power at the point of contact is impressive. He knocks O-line back. He dominates tight ends when he's on them. But this kid to me is, yeah, this is a top 25 pick of the NFL
Top
draft.
25
I
pick.
think so. Somewhere
Okay.
in there, yeah. I'm going to say somewhere that 18 to 25 range, I could see him going for sure.
So not quite the elite talent that Micah Parsons was. And
No,
I mean,
not quite that.
We throw around generational talent, but Micah Parsons really was last year. And
He
we saw
was.
it in the impact that he had.
Yes.
But what kind of impact could a guy like Devin Lloyd have on a team that drafts him next year?
I mean, start day one, change the total thought, overall thought of that defense, and like a playmaker too. You're gonna get a guy that can do all your scheme stuff and all of that, but you know he's gonna make some plays outside the realm of the scheme. You know, and again, when we talk about your question to lead off this segment here, the modern day linebacker, it's got to be able to do a little of everything. You know, it's hey, this week cover a tight end, this week power run game. Hey, this week we're missing a defense end or an outside line. We need you to go out there and stand up a little bit more. That, to me, is where his value is, let alone he can play in the middle of the defense at a very elite level.
So you mentioned changing the complexion of a defense immediately from the moment they get there. Do you notice that with any of the linebackers that you watch, like their presence, their leadership, the way they orchestrate the defense, like they have that ability to be day one alpha dog, even though I'm a rookie coming into this league?
Yeah, definitely. You know, you can see that, and again, I think this is another position that's a little undervalued as far as what it does to your team. Again, I think when you talk about top defenses, and usually when we go, well, they're a fast defense, what we really mean is they got fast linebackers, so it makes them fast. Because everybody's got fast corners and safeties.
Yeah.
It's the linebackers that put it over the edge. Whether you go through the great defenses of time or whatever, that were like that way, that's what makes it fast. And you look at the top defenses, right now in football, the Ravens are that's run game. Sorry. Ravens do have a fast linebacker.
Yeah.
The Bills are number one defense in football, fast linebackers. Carolina has got very athletic middle linebackers. The 49ers, we just talked about them with Fred Warner. The Browns at number 5. I mean, again, Owusu-Koramoah made an instant impact for that football team, to answer that right off the bat. Mm-hmm. Micah Parsons, you talk about that. I mean, to me, that is part of team speed. And again, they're in the middle of the field. They have effect of so many plays. I don't think they quite get the value they deserve.
I mean, so if your team is in the middle of the first round
for Dallas,
right? Totally.
Right.
If your team's in the middle of the first round this year and gets Devin Lloyd, you should be very happy.
I think
maybe
so.
Got some value right there. He is the number 1 linebacker for Chris SIMMS in his final positional rankings for the 2022 NFL Draft. There it is. Devin Lloyd from Utah with a couple of Georgia guys in the top 5. Once again with Chad Muma from Wyoming.
Yep.
Barely missing out on the top 5. Who knows? Maybe in a day or two you'll put him in there. But that's it. You've come to the finish line, and we finish it with our friends over at PointsBet. They want to give us some odds on the first linebacker drafted. They think Devin Lloyd will go off the board first. So you do see Nakobe Dean a lot of places, but maybe our friend Jay Croucher over at PointsBet starting to hear the same things you're hearing.
Well, yeah, I think, one, Nakobe's going to be the popular name for the bettors, right, and the public, because it's just what you've been fed. It's just all, hey, it's Georgia, it's this guy, he's awesome, he's Georgia, blah, blah, blah. Lloyd, I mean, it's a slam dunk for me, I think, that he's the number 1 backer off the board. He just, again, I think the big thing is, 1, he's just a really awesome player, but 2, like we talked about a lot, there's no scheme that's not going to like him. They're just going to go, hey, he 4-3, 3-4, whatever, we can do it. So there we go. But, hey, look at Quay Walker's third.
Yeah.
That's good to see him getting a little love there. Hey, Christian Harris, Bama, let's talk about him for a second.
Yeah.
Good player, really good athlete, like high level acceleration, explosion. Just overruns plays, can be a little stiff, can play a little small like Dean at times and get swallowed up by blockers a little, but still a good player. I thought overall the linebacking class had a lot of good in it. It really did. Troy Anderson from Montana State, he was a hell of a specimen and good-looking player. The kid from Oklahoma State, Malcolm Rodriguez, man, I liked him. He's a little undersized, a 5'11 guy too, but like a Nakobe Dean, where it's just like a heat-seeking missile all over the field. It's just, you got to be comfortable with that size.
Malcolm Rodriguez played quarterback in high school.
Did he really? Holy crap!
Yeah, was a wrestler.
Yeah, so good group. It really was. And again, I think this draft has got tremendous depth and tremendous depth. Maybe not that superstar, but I do think, like I've said to you, and I think you've heard me say this, maybe I didn't, that there's 2, maybe 3 guys at every position that I think stand alone at the position group, to where that's going to make the value of the top 15 greater than people think, in my opinion.
You want to get the tier 1 of each position group, and that's not super deep, even though you might have some talent.
Right. It's just
like
a fall
receiver.
off. Yeah, right. If you're looking for a guy like, wait, we got to get a guy that makes a difference, you're not going to want to miss out on that top 2 or 3.
Yep.
If you're going, wait, we just need a guy that's, depth and rounds out our room or whatever, then maybe you're not going to be as desperate and you can wait to those later rounds.
So you can go on PointsBet right now, maybe plop some money on Devin Lloyd going number 1 off the board, or maybe Nakobe Dean if you want to get a little more juice there. But you can go over to PointsBet to do that right now, Chris. And what else can they do over at PointsBet?
Well, they could do lots of PointsBet. And you know what I would bet? What I would like to bet on that more than anything is I'm gonna bet you Quay Walker goes before Nakobe Dean.
Okay,
all right. Even though I know I like him more, I think the NFL, that's one where in totality, they're going to see it, and he'll end up going first.
Let's get
all right?
Jay on the phone, make that bet
Let's
for
go,
us. The
points
SIMMS
bet.
bet.
Yeah, which Georgia LB goes first.
Or you
all
could
right?
do one for defensive tackle, too.
Oh, I
maybe.
could do that too. Right. So if you are in an eligible state, PointsBet has an exclusive sign-up offer for Unbuttoned listeners that you can't miss. You can't miss it, Ahmed. Download the PointsBet app. Use code NBC2K. 2K means 2000, Ahmed.
2000.
Just for those cool kids out there, you know. So NBC2K to sign up, get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So if you bet $365 and lose, right, then you will get free bets of $365. That makes sense?
Why that number? Why 365?
Well, yeah, it's $1 for every episode of Chris Simms Unbuttoned, okay?
Oh, good. I like that.
We got to pay the tab.
We don't do
here,
one every
all right?
day, but
So once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life.
All right.
With PointsBet.
Cool. You can make some money.
Yeah, make some money.
And tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but next time on the podcast, we'll do the mock draft. Maybe we'll make some news, make some waves out there. And PointsBet will have a special promotion tied to the mock draft. The
I love it.
round of the mock draft for you. So that's going to be, I don't even know what that is. That's a
something
tease
about
to
like
me.
Who can get more right or something like that.
We'll
Can
see.
you?
All right. Yeah. Matt's saying don't give it away to even me right now. But okay, you did it. You made it to the finish line. Deep breath. I know what you'll be doing when you get home.
421.
Off the top of your head, strongest position groups in the draft this year. I'm going to guess that you think edge is 1, offensive lineman is 2, defensive tackle is 3.
Edge is up there.
Like
You're
your
right.
only your top 5. Like I'm not talking like top 20. I'm just mean your top 5.
Oh, you're talking about that.
The elite.
The elite. Yeah. I would say you're about right there. I think the edge alone, the top 5 goes, and could 6 and 7 as far as the edge guys. I think there's 7 or 8 offensive linemen that can go in the first round, legitimately. I think you can see 5 tackles, 2 guards in the center from Iowa all go in the first round. So, yeah, I think you were safe there. And then, of course, wide receiver. Wide receiver still
deep.
That's deep, yes.
You do like your number 1 guy.
I do like my number, and I like my number 2 guy a lot, too, Watson. I would probably knock down Alec Pierce a little bit. That's probably where I was wrong a little bit, maybe jump to, but he's still really good.
Yeah, we'll break it all down. PointsBet will have some more ways that you can make money coming up on Monday, Chris.
Yes, we will. See you Monday, everybody. Peace out. Be good out there. Have a great weekend. Enjoy 421, 22, 23, and 24.
You will.
I will, for sure. Ahmed, thanks, man. Thanks as always. Thanks for wearing the red pants. Peace out.
Had to.
See ya. Clap it up.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.